Alrighty, hey gang, welcome back you guys. So today I'm really excited. I want to share with you guys something I haven't talked about much. This is my Sur-Ron electric bike, dirt bike, somewhere in between, and it is awesome, you guys. So today I'm going to talk about upgrades, things I've done to make it better, changes, additions, things I liked and don't like about it, and we're going to take a closer look at this thing. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first upgrade I want to talk about is brakes. So when you get the Sur-Ron, it comes with Chinese factory-built hydraulic brakes. And they're pretty good. They're not terrible, but they've got pretty crappy pads in them. They kind of feel soft and sort of mushy, and they fade pretty quick. And in general, they just didn't feel great. So one of the very first upgrades I did was I upgraded my brakes. Now I switched to a Shimano Saint downhill brake. It's awesome. It just bolts right up. The calipers, the mounts are universal, so it's a really easy install. Just 2 Allen bolts and you're good to go. Now when you get the Sur-Ron, it has a weird brake layout. It's sort of a hybrid between a bike and a motorcycle. Now a typical motorcycle, you'd have your clutch here on your left hand, you'd have your front brake on your right hand. When you get the Sur-Ron, it's got your rear brake on your right hand, or excuse me, your rear brake on your left hand and your front brake on your right hand. Now on a mountain bike, it's exactly the opposite. So you'll have your rear brake on your right hand on your mountain bike and your front brake on your left hand. So by switching to the Shimano Saint mountain bike, I put it back to mountain bike brake lever style, which is a front brake on your left hand, a rear brake on your right. I like that better. I switch between my mountain bike and the Sur-Ron all the time. So that works really well for me. Now if you're someone who really likes practicing wheelies and stuff like that, you may prefer to keep your rear brake on your left hand. Personal choice, it's your call. It's easy to install. You can buy this Shimano brake kit from Amazon with the calipers and the levers plumbed together, and it's literally as easy as just sliding your old levers off your bars, putting the new ones on, bolting those calipers up. A little bit of routing for the hydraulic tubing, but it's a real easy install, and it's just an unbelievably useful upgrade. So upgrading the brakes, number one, something I really recommend. So the second upgrade I've done is I upgraded my bars, and they came with a stock sort of low rise bar, and I went with a high rise Pro Taper handlebar that I believe it has 3 inches of rise. I could be wrong about that. I'll have to look at the specs. But at any rate, I went with a Pro Taper all aluminum bar. I did cut it a little bit and shortened it up just a bit. Now the original bars came really wide, and so you'll need to get, I would suggest if you're not used to, if you don't know what your bar width is, go out and ride it for a while, see how you feel. For me, it really hurts my wrists to have the bars out that wide. So I took off about 1.5 inches off of each side, and that made a big difference. So the main advantage of the bars is I got a higher rise, and even though I'm fairly short, the bars were pretty low for me stock on the normal, with the normal bars. So the high-rise Pro Taper bars made a big difference. I'm really enjoying them. And the third upgrade I've done is I've added bash guards to these bars, or brush guards. So these are invaluable when riding off-road. You're going to be going through branches and brush and sticks and all kinds of stuff, and the bash guards do a great job of protecting your hands and fingers. They allow you to ride through stuff with confidence when you don't have them. If you're used to having them and you don't have them, you'll notice they are invaluable. So the ones I got here are made for a motorcycle. They're a little bit big in terms of the length, but they do fit. The plugs fit right in, the clamps fit well. And I was able to crank them down very tight, and they are extremely durable. These are all metal, aluminum. There's an aluminum bar here with a plastic guard. And what's great about these is you can drop the bike without damaging your levers most of the time. So highly recommend Bash Guards. I think it's one of the best upgrades you can do for your Sur-Ron. It'll protect the bike and you, and you'll really be glad you did. So that's Bash Guards. Okay, so moving on to the next upgrade. The next upgrade I've done is I've replaced the foot pegs. Now the foot pegs that came on the Sur-Ron were just a real basic flat motorcycle pedal. It's all aluminum. They don't have any lugs on them or anything like that. And they were okay, but they're pretty small footprint, so you don't have a lot of traction there, nor do you have a lot of area to disperse the pressure. And I just didn't like them. So I went ahead and got these. These are foot pegs that I found on Amazon. I'll put links down in the description for you guys so you can check out all of this stuff. But these foot pegs are originally for a small dirt bike like an RM 100, 110 or something like that. And they bolt right on. They were really inexpensive. They do have carbide lugs. I've really been enjoying them. These are a great fit. The angle's just right. Now I tried another pair before this and they had a little bit different angle and they fit incorrectly. These ones fit great. Love them. They do come with a good strong spring. I highly recommend you install that. The first pair I put on, I did not have springs on, and the bike rattled, and the pegs would come up under my feet when I was getting light, and unweighting. Not a good feeling. So I highly recommend that you get some new pegs, put some springs in there. Put the springs in there. So the next upgrade I want to talk about is a tire. So the tires that come on the Sur-Ron are really, really inexpensive tires, and they tend to be sort of hard, a little slippery, and they wear out really quick and really dramatically. So I've only got about 300 miles on this bike so far, and I completely wore out the original tire. Now I did decide to run it for the first month or two just to see how it lasted and held up and what the difference was. But what I've done now is I've upgraded to a new tire, and this is a CST Surge, and I got this on Amazon. It was fairly inexpensive. It is a little bit wider, so it does slightly interfere with my kickstand. My kickstand is still on, but it's just barely rubbing the side lugs. I think I'm going to take my kickstand off to give that more room. But what a difference in traction, you guys. It has made an enormous difference in traction and performance, and highly recommended. That's probably one of the best upgrades you can do right out of the gate, is put a new tire on there, especially on the back. It'll make a big difference for you. Okay, so the next upgrade is the motor bash guard. Now when you get your Sur-Ron, it's going to come with a fairly flimsy little bash guard here. And Luna Cycles, where I got my Sur-Ron, makes this awesome little bash guard. It's relatively affordable. It just bolts right up. And I got to tell you, I've been going over, doing a lot of forest trails and going over logs, and I have bashed this thing hard. I felt like if I had the old plate on there, it would have compressed and smashed into the motor and probably pinched the wires there, the power leads. So I'm very pleased with the bash guard. Highly recommended. It's a great upgrade. Okay, moving on to one of probably the most important upgrade in terms of day-to-day use is the fenders. So fenders are kind of a tough thing to find for this bike. Or there's a few different ways you can go. I see a lot of people go with a rubber piece up here. That's pretty good, but it doesn't do much for you with all the mud coming off the back of the tire and coming up past this small little guard. So while it does protect some of the bike from mud, it doesn't really protect your back much. So this is a mud hugger rear fender, and I've got a mud hugger front fender as well. I really like this rear fender. It just zip ties to your rear triangle here, so it's a real easy install. You got to spread it out a little bit for the wide Sur-Ron tire, but it does fit. Been really pleased with it. Haven't had any problems with it, and it works fantastic. Keeps my back almost completely clear of mud while I'm using it. And on the front here, we've got the Mud Hugger front fender. Now, I've been through a few different front fender configurations, and I gotta say, I don't care for the appearance of this Mud Hugger as much as I liked the long sort of motocross fenders that were on, mounted to the top underside of the triple clamp here. on the front fork. However, the Mudhugger does seem to work better. It's holding up great. It really keeps the mud off. It's small and it's out of the way. Now my favorite fender from a look standpoint was the Top Peak Defender, and that inserts into your steering tube here and works really well. It looks cool. It looks like a dirt bike. The problem with it is when you maximize, when you go all the way to full compression on your fork, it tends to shock it, and eventually you'll break it off. So I've been through 2 of them already. Eventually they both broke. Like I said, I love them. They function well. They look good, but they just don't hold up in this location. And I don't think I'm going to buy another one. So that was the Top Peak Defender. I'm going to say this Mudhugger, it just zip ties on. I haven't had any problems with it. And you know what? It's actually keeping the bike cleaner than the motocross style fender was. So I think it's a go. So that's the Mudhugger front fender. And so last but not least, the last upgrade that I really want to talk about is my light. And I have the Fisher Fab House light that I got from Luna Cycles, and you guys, it is unbelievable. It is, first of all, it's really adjustable, so you have a lot of different, I think there's 5 different settings, but the brightness is amazing. That thing lights up the woods like nobody's business. Riding this thing at night is a joy with that light on. So really pleased I got it. It makes a big difference. You can get it right from Luna, and I highly recommend you do. Okay, gang, well that's it. Those are my Sur-Ron upgrades. Let me know what you think, and as always, you guys, thank you so much for listening and watching and for all your support. I'll see you guys real soon. All right, thanks. See ya.